On today's episode, we talk to Lisa Vasey, owner of Stage Today, Sold Tomorrow, who provides vacant, occupied, and design services throughout the San Diego area. Listen in as we share about how to talk to sellers to list their homes for top dollar, and find out what Lisa does when sellers still have decor around from the 80s. Now let's jump into the conversation.
This is the Stage Your Boss podcast from StageYourBoss.com with the founder of HSRA, Jana Uselton. The Home Staging and Redesign Association is a group of like-minded professionals dedicated to revolutionizing the real estate industry by making a difference in the lives and businesses of home stagers and redesigners everywhere. Join us as we talk to the best of the best in this industry from all over the world and hear how they are using their training and experience to make a difference in the clients they serve. If you are a real estate industry expert looking for better ways to market and sell properties, join us for this podcast series.
Hey everyone, it's Jana with our Stage Your Boss podcast. We're excited today to talk to Miss Lisa Vasey from California, and she has a company there, amazing company called Stage Today, Sold Tomorrow. So welcome, Lisa.
Well, thank you, Jana. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm excited to talk with you. I know that our relationship has gone back for many years now. It's been great to see you and your business just grow. It's unbelievable. And so let's talk today about the area you serve, your business, kind of how you got started. We'll dive all into this. So I'm just going to pass it on to you for introductions.
Okay. Well, yes, my business is Stage Today, Sold Tomorrow. I've been in business for about 6 years now. And I actually met you in my second month.
Wow.
Being in
I don't
business.
know if I realized that. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I was brand spanking new. And I am in the San Diego area. I service all of San Diego County. I have grown from, just like most of us, I've grown from working out of my garage to a storage unit and 2 storage units and 3 and 4 and 5. And then I went, oh, I think I need a warehouse. So now we have a 3,000 square foot warehouse, which is pretty awesome. We've already outgrown it, but we're staying put for a while.
That's great.
I've grown from working by myself to growing a team. So I have 2 designers. I have a marketing person, which has been phenomenal. And yeah, we've had 2018 was the best year that we've had in business, and we are just ready to keep growing, and it's been phenomenal. We do primarily vacant staging. We do some occupied staging, but primarily vacant staging. I would say probably about 85 to 90% is vacant. However, I do a number of consultations for occupied homes.
Okay.
And something that has really taken off, not necessarily because I've pursued it, but it's come to me, is a lot of design work. So I'm currently working with 5 different design clients, and that just keeps coming to me. So I don't say no.
Right. Well, I love that. I love that you're able to work with many different types of clients when it comes to our, typical real estate. We've got to sell this property, plus helping people after the sale. And I know that you have transitioned from, having possibly no inventory, very little inventory, to now getting into buying and what that looks like, and the partners that you have, just all of that. It's been quite a journey. With all of us are trying to start our businesses here and getting some success and growing to the next level, now growing a team and managing not only ourselves but our team. So what has that journey been like through these years?
Oh, that's the hard part. I am constantly trying to figure that out. However, I have realized that when you work with really good people, the best thing that you can do is set them up for success and get out of their way.
Mm.
When I know that our communication is really good and solid, it's been difficult for me to start to be a little bit hands off on the staging, but I have started transitioning to letting the designers, kind of take it without me, with some guidance. And so that's a work in progress, but it has been, it's a challenge to get to that point of always being so hands on and then transitioning to the point of just managing rather than doing.
Right.
And so that, I think, is just a constant process, and we're always learning and trying to determine what's working with that and what's not, so that we can make the next project go a little bit smoother, or said, oh, that was really great, let's just keep doing that, we figured it out.
Absolutely. I know that it is a journey, and we're always trying to learn the secret sauce to run a successful business, not only just exist, but really thrive. And we're glad that we have partnered together, and that you have seen the amazing difference of attending, national events, investing in your continuing education, just like our realtors that we work with do. And now you really set yourself apart from other maybe pop-up stagers. They pop up overnight and they see HGTV, they want to stage, and then they make a few phone calls, possibly get a couple of jobs, and then all of a sudden they may not be in business anymore. They didn't have all of the foundational elements that your company does to be able to sustain year after year. And so I love that about you, that you have not only invested in your education, but also you're one of our national speakers. You get to travel and come to our events and help speak, and we get to come to you. You've poured in, not only that you've been a participant, but you've also been able to give. And I love that. So, when we think about the business growing, and what is your ideal client when we talk, when it comes to home selling, is it the realtor? Is it the builder, the investor? Who is that?
Well, I think I really deal primarily with realtors.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been, an ongoing process of educating them and bringing them along for turning their outlook about staging. In our market right now in San Diego, it has been a really, really hot seller's market for the last few years. And we had very low inventory, so a lot of people were thinking that it wasn't necessary to stage, or they would test the market first. Well, in the last 6 months or so, that's really been changing. And now I think a lot of realtors are starting to realize the benefits of staging and how crucial it is to do it off the top, because lately I've been getting so many calls for houses that have been sitting on the market for 2 or 3 months and they're not getting any traffic. And then we stage them and boom, it sells in less than a week.
Yes.
So it's just getting the realtors to understand that that importance, because they just wasted 2 or 3 months of their time and their clients' time and their clients' money. So I think that we're going to see a huge turnaround in our market in this next year or so, because it is really starting to make a huge impact. We do have a lot of stagers here, but there's tons of work to go around for everyone. So yeah, there are the pop-up stagers and the newbie stagers, and that are, doing it for very little. That's always a challenge, I think, in any market.
Sure.
But you show your results, and when you find the people that understand and really appreciate the benefits of staging, they're golden clients.
Mm-hmm.
And I have several I have several realtors that I work with that just would not dream of listing a property without staging it.
Yeah.
So
That's good. That's really good. And you bring up several key points here. I think that in any market, we do have the challenge of educating those agents on the importance. You know, I just finished my my training, all of my coursework with real estate, just to be a content matter expert. And one of the things that they really drive home is that due diligence, making sure that we're not misrepresenting, making sure that it is our fiduciary responsibility to give our clients the best of the best knowledge and information so they can be a wise participant and making sure that home sells. And so it is our due diligence to let them know, you know, here are our recommendations. Here's what we think is going to be the best for your property and setting it up for market. But some of those agents, they're just scared. They're afraid in every market to open that door because they know it potentially has to deal with money out of that seller's pocket. And they see it as a cost or an expense instead of really seeing it as an investment. So what are some of the great taglines or phrases that you would like agents to really get and learn to help them educate sellers? Maybe they're in front of a seller, they're signing the listing agreement at the kitchen table, and they're saying, oh, by the way, you know, your home looks amazing. However, I really feel like it can benefit from home staging. And we've got a great company that we use. Miss Lisa Vasey is amazing. These are some of the things that I would recommend that you do. What needs to be in that conversation between that agent and that seller to help that seller understand this is more of not only just an option, but really a more of, if we want to sell quickly for top dollar, this needs to happen?
Well, I always really try to give the realtors, if I don't have the opportunity to be a part of that meeting, I try to give them some language about focusing on the property being a huge asset in the seller's portfolio. And if we start talking about it in terms of return on investment and looking at it as a financial decision rather than an emotional decision, then they tend to pick up their ears a little bit and start to listen to it a little bit differently. And, you know, the bottom line is that staging is really far less than a price reduction.
Sure.
So those are some of the phrases that I give to realtors is that, look, if we don't get any traffic in here within 3 weeks, we're going to have a really difficult conversation about, you know, adjusting the price. I know you want to get X, and sometimes there's a struggle between the realtor and the seller about what that magic number is. And some agents, you know, tend to try it out for their seller's number first, even though they don't think that it's the right number. But nobody wants to have that conversation about
Sure.
having to drop their house by $10,000 or $20,000. And it's just not, staging isn't going to cost that much unless we're talking about multi-million-dollar homes.
Mm-hmm.
But for your average home, it doesn't cost nearly that much. And when you look at the results that you can get, both in traffic, the views online, and then potentially multiple offers. And that's been the case with so many properties that we've staged, that if you're getting the big key number that I know a lot of realtors look at is the price to listing ratio. Like if they can get 97% of their list price, then they feel really good about their stats. And look, we all want the same stats, but if you can move that needle so that your stats are more like 99%, 100% of list price for the majority of your properties, even if some are 97%, there are going to be some with staging that could go over list price.
Sure.
So that's going to affect all of their statistics.
Right.
And so those are some of the things that I try to impress upon agents that aren't used to using stagers. And but it's really about, I now have some, you know, veteran stagers that have started using me, that have been in the business for 30 or 40 years.
Veteran agents, maybe,
Agents,
right?
yes, veteran agents, sorry. And, called me in on a stale listing, sold in a week. Called me in on another stale listing, sold in a week. And he was like, hey, I'm starting to like this
Light
stage
bulb.
thing, that big light bulb moment. And so now he just, he says to his clients, look, I think you need to talk to Lisa. I'm not the person to tell you about what to put where or what to take away or anything, but Lisa's just great, and let me, hook you up with her. And so that's been really, really phenomenal when I see that kind of a transformation in an agent.
Well, you just hit something that was, I think, spectacular, that I hope all the agents and anyone selling their property, maybe they are the investors or whatnot, but you're working with an agent, or you are that agent. When it comes to advice, we can always, as agents, give that, recommendation. But what it says to do, this is what we as an industry, I get to say we now, because we also stage, right? But knowing agents and what is expected and what is advised state to state, is that we are to let them know, to refer them to an expert. We are not to do it ourselves as an, I can't go inspect someone's home. I shouldn't go paint someone's home. I shouldn't go do the landscaping. Why in the world would I go stage my own properties? I am supposed to refer them to an expert. And it's my job, my fiduciary responsibility, to make sure that I refer, I vet out the right experts out there, that I don't call someone from that just popped up and I don't vet them out and make sure that they are a real business that has real insurance, that, possibly has a team and their own furniture so that they can do things quickly and efficiently. So those are the things I need to just vet out the sources. And then I need to recommend and refer out and not do it myself. So that is golden right there, if people can get that. How many stagers want to be stagents and stage their own properties and they have no insurance? What if something goes wrong? Why would they do that?
Mm-hmm. Well, another thing, I like telling this little story, if I may. I did a consult on an occupied home really early on. And this property was so dated. It was, it had the balloon drapes and the wallpaper, and everything was pink and blue. It had blue carpeting.
Oh, this is from the 80s.
Yeah, it was totally, the last time it had been decorated was like 1983. And the agent had made all of these recommendations because she actually had been a designer, a fashion designer. So she had a really good eye. And she had made all of the recommendations that you or I would have made. And the sellers just said, no, I think it looks fine the way it is. Let's just put it on the market. So 3 weeks go by, not a single phone call. And so finally she had me come in and do a consult. And I told them why it's important to take the wallpaper down, and why it's important to remove the balloon drapes, and why it was important to take out the blue and pink floral sofa. And they seemed to be kind of taking it with a grain of salt during the process. So I left, and 20 minutes later, my cell phone rang, and it was the agent. And she said, I don't know how you did that, but the minute you walked out the door, they started taking down the drapes.
Wow.
And
I had the opposite call where, they're crying and we're like, we didn't, we were so sweet about this. So I'm glad you didn't have that call.
Yeah, no, because it's, I realize that it has so much to do with, I can say the exact same words that the agent can say, but they're going to hear it differently coming from me.
Sure.
And so because I am that outside expert,
right.
And that's something that I also do impress upon new agents, new to me agents, that, we can be on the same page, but we can sort of do the good cop, bad cop routine where I'm still very nice about it, but I can say the things that they may not want to say.
With a smile on her face and a written report, whatever that looks like.
Exactly.
That's so true. And I think that, when you look at, you don't operate on yourselves, you go to the experts. You don't do your own, surgery, and you need to have a root canal. We don't do that ourselves, right? We go to experts that word is what they're trained to do. And it's like us. I mean, we staged over 5,500 homes in our lifetime here as a business. And you learn a few things. Yeah. You learn what to do, what not to do. And 10,000 hours makes someone an expert in whatever their craft is. And so I love that you are pouring into that San Diego area. What things are you involved in when it comes to networking, and where can people find you if they're looking for Miss Lisa?
Well, for networking, I go to 2 of the broker caravans every week. And so those are pretty well attended, and I do speak at those occasionally. I'm also a RESA approved instructor, and so I'll be doing a class in the San Diego area, on at least a quarterly basis. And we're working on bringing that to larger offices as well. I'm the newly inducted, I guess, chapter president of RESA here in San Diego. And then for other networking things, I do some referral group networking. So, I have a few things like that. I've been really selective, and I think that that's been really good for me at this point in my business about what I'm doing and how I'm spending my time for networking.
Sure.
Because there's only so many hours in the day. But I do find that going to the caravans really does make a difference, and it helps me to build relationships in the community, and also stay educated on what is happening locally.
Absolutely. It's iron sharpens iron. You're able to now be able to take from, how's the real estate market doing? What's our average days on markets? What's moving faster and slower? And it's good for us to always be knowledge seekers, when it comes to just being around the right people. So good. Kudos to you for being selective on your marketing, for knowing what is, and your networking, and knowing what you are able to pour your time into, and what has the best relationship value there. And I think that that's huge. So how can they find you? How can people find you?
My website is stagetodaysoldtomorrow.com. And I'm on Yelp, I'm on Houzz, and people can find me, just by doing a quick Google search. I do want to touch on something that you said earlier, though, that I think for all stagers, and certainly for agents as well, that continuing education is so critical. I am 1,000% certain that my business would not have grown the way that it has had I not invested in continuing education and gone to conferences and been inspired by other people and been educated about how the industry is evolving. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's one of the things that I didn't realize that it was going to be such an ongoing process, but it's one of the things that I just really love, is that it is a constant education and constantly staying up on trends. And I think that every time I take the time to do some type of education, I come away with something that is just so invaluable, that I just want to put it out there, that just never stop learning. Don't think that like once you're done with your training that you're done,
right?
Because you're just never going to grow beyond that point if you don't do more.
That's right. And I think that's so true as well. You know us, we're big believers in always learning, always growing mindset, right? Strategy and masterminding and working more so on the business than in the business, growing the team, being able to help more people, being able to connect with more people. And today people are looking for client experience. They're looking for relationship because everything is so virtual. And, people want it done now, but they also want to know who's doing it and want that touch point. So I love that you guys have been a company that has taken technology to the next level, but you don't forget about the networking. You don't forget about, being able to help them at any level that they're needing. And what is something that you would like for our listeners to know about you, your business, maybe working with you, something that you feel like would connect them to your story?
Well, I mean, I started this business because I love not just staging, but decorating and designing. That just all started from, a personal place where we were renovating homes. And I actually had to do it for a job when I was working at another organization. And I realized that was like really fun. And then I had to go back to the job part of it, and I didn't like that so much. But something that I really love about working with clients is when we can really transform a space. And I have one agent that I work with that we call it flip your house. Instead of it's not an investor, but we're flipping your current home.
Right.
And when we can do the transformation of just those little fixes, and that I'm really there as a resource and a support system to them for transitioning them from a home owner to a home seller, and a success story with that. And I feel that I really excel with creating those relationships because this is a really, really personal type of business. Sometimes people tell you their life stories, and I've had clients that are not happy about selling and they're crying on my shoulder, and so there's a little bit of psychology there, but I just try to be there and provide them with the support that they need, because this is a huge transition and it's very stressful for everyone. So we just want to make sure that their experience is the best that it can possibly be, and provide them with whatever they need. And I keep stressing to them that the best thing that I can do for you is get your house sold quickly and for top dollar.
So good. That's so good, because you're not only the service, as we know, there's art and science to this. And we have to come in, we have to diagnose, we have to immediately have that execution plan on. This is a product that is also, it's an emotional product. There are still ties to everything. And sometimes people are having to live in a glass house during the process. And so understanding what the true needs are for each client that you are given, and that you have that ownership with, being part of maybe a real estate team now that's your client as well, and just offering the best of the best service, not only the physical, but the tangible, but the intangible as well. So, well, I'm so excited to see your business continue to grow beyond that you've been able to ask or think. And I love that you're part of our national association. I love that you're able to not only learn, but also pour into our entire home staging and redesign industry with the knowledge that you've gained. And so I just look forward to hearing more and more greatness from your company. And you are definitely, Miss Lisa, a stager boss. So kudos to that. And you just keep rocking it out. And we look forward to talking with you next time.
Thank you so much.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.